Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Perez Show. It is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. Almost 2 p.m. Show begins now. So, National Championship game was yesterday. This is really all I'm going to talk about in today's episode. But, what a game. What a way to end the college football season. Those who didn't watch the game, Indiana won the game 27-21 in Miami. Miami played a really good game. Miami made it really hard for Fernando Mendoza in that Miami offense. I believe they had 6 tackles for loss and 3 sacks on the game. Ruben Ban and Mesidor, the two-headed monster. I talked about that in yesterday's video. They were going to make it hard for Fernando Mendoza. They're going to make it hard for the Indiana running backs to get going, and they did. They made it a really hard game up front. Not just through Mesidor, not just through Ban, but Miami's defense playing up front in general. They made it really hard for Indiana's O-line, and they made it so there were a couple of tough moments for Mendoza. But, I mean, if you look at Indiana's stats, Indiana didn't even play the best. Indiana did not play their best game, honestly. Mendoza had 186 yards in the air, didn't get a touchdown. Didn't throw an interception either, though. He was solid in the air, though. Obviously, Indiana's number one receiver was Omar Cooper, had 5 receptions, 471 yards. And then, obviously, the running game. Say in this game, it was Black who got the majority of the reps in the running game. Well, the majority of reps, but got the most yards with 79 yards on the ground. Hemby had 65 yards on the ground. But obviously, play of the game had to have was by Indiana's offense. I mentioned this early on because it was what a play it was. On 4th and 5, late in the fourth quarter, Indiana had the ball. They decided to go for it. They call a quarterback draw, and I was wondering why they were calling a quarterback draw. But it was executed to perfection in a 4th and 5. All they needed was a first down to get first and goal. On 4th and 5, Mendoza runs the quarterback draw, scores a touchdown, takes a couple of tough licks in the process, but gets the ball in the end zone for Indiana to score the game-winning touchdown. I mean, I understand Mendoza has already won the Heisman Trophy, but that's another Heisman moment in a season that has been filled with Heisman moments for Fernando Mendoza, and further proof as to why he's going to be the top pick in the NFL draft come April, come time for the draft in April. And obviously, let's go over Miami's offense real quick. Miami's offense did play a really good game. I'll give them that. I don't think the 21 points they scored really tells the full story as to well I thought Miami's offense played. Fletcher continued his amazing postseason, 17 carries for 120 and 2 touchdowns. Malachi Toney, 10 receptions for 122 yards and a touchdown. The quarterback, Carson Beck, 19 for 32 passing for 232 and a touchdown. And of course, the play Indiana fans will remember for a long time, the interception with 43 seconds left that secured the national championship. Yeah, those are really the big stats. Obviously, I talked about Miami's defense a little bit. They had 3 sacks and 6 tackles for loss. So in general, Miami's defense forced 9 negative plays for Indiana. And again, they did a really good job making Mendoza's time really, really hard. I feel like in general throughout the playoffs, Mendoza had a much easier time. We kind of saw in the Ohio State game a little bit how if Ohio State got a little bit of pressure on Mendoza, he was going to struggle a little bit. We saw that with Miami's defense yesterday. They put a lot of pressure on Mendoza. They were able to get to the quarterback quickly, and they forced Mendoza to make a lot of quicker decisions. Obviously, wasn't enough in the end. Mendoza got around it, played really well. But Miami's defense, give them a lot of credit. They played really well. In general, I do want to give a lot of credit to Miami as a whole. I understand they fell short. But the fact that they barely made the playoffs, the last team, the last non-conference champion team to make it in, with a lot of people saying that they didn't deserve it, that it should have been Notre Dame or someone else. To start the playoffs by going into Texas A&M, one of the most hostile environments in football, and beating the Aggies on the road. To take down a team that I think many people thought was going to win the national championship this season in Ohio State, the defending champions, on New Year's Eve, and making Ohio State's offense look terrible. I mean, Ohio State played their worst game of the year on offense. It was a great performance by Miami in general that game. And once again, Mark Fletcher performed phenomenally. And then last game, to go up against a red hot Ole Miss team that I think a lot of people thought was going to win the championship after the way they beat Georgia, with how well Trinidad Shambles was playing. To beat them, for Carson Beck to score that game-winning touchdown in the final minute of the game, and now to come to the national championship game against a red hot Indiana team who had absolutely smoked their previous two opponents, to make it a 6-point game, become one touchdown shy of becoming a national champion, the first double-digit seed to become a national champion. What a playoff run for Miami, and they're not going to get enough credit for it because they lost. I know people didn't want to say whether or not Miami was fully back unless they won the championship. I'll say it. I think Miami's back. To be able to have this kind of a playoff performance, to see how well Mario Cristobal has really rebuilt this squad. I'll say Miami's back, and they're not going to get enough credit for how well they performed in this postseason. Carson Beck isn't going to get enough credit for how well he played. Despite all that he went through last season with Georgia, how he flamed out at Georgia, took the blame for a lot of their problems they had on offense, to not only last further in the playoffs than Georgia did, but to just be one touchdown shy of becoming a national champion. Beck's not going to get enough credit for the performance he had. And obviously, a lot of it's going to do with Mendoza, how Indiana played in the postseason, and the fact that Indiana won it all, their first championship in school history. Fun fact about Indiana, by the way, they are the first team to have an undefeated. They're the second college program, or the second university to have an undefeated championship season in both men's basketball and football. Second after UCLA did it. But yeah, again, tons of credit to Miami. What a phenomenal postseason run for Miami. What a great season for Miami. But obviously, congratulations to Indiana. Congratulations to the new national champions. Once again, Big Ten runs. The Big Ten officially runs college football. 3 straight national championships out of the Big Ten. And for Indiana to do it, the team with the second most losses in college football history, I think it's safe to say that the Big Ten is the powerhouse conference of college football. But that's really all the thoughts I have on the national championship game as of right now. Obviously. Congratulations again to Indiana, to the amazing season that they had. Again, you could make a movie about what Indiana went through to get here. You could have made a movie about Miami getting here, even if they did fall short. But it sucks. College football season's over, but it's only a few more months away. I believe only 200 something days until the next season begins. So let's enjoy what we just had, and thank you to college football for such an amazing season. I mean, this season was absolutely awesome, start to finish. But we look forward to the next season. But until then, we look forward to the NFL playoffs. The AFC and the NFC championship game are this weekend, with the Super Bowl not too long after. And then once football's over, we still have baseball to look forward to, at least maybe in the regular season. I think we all know who the World Series champion is going to be until we get a salary cap in baseball, but we can at least enjoy the regular season. We can enjoy the World Baseball Classic, first and foremost. We got UFC coming back this weekend. The Royal Rumble in WWE is the weekend after. The NBA and the NHL are nearing their season finales. We're approaching the Winter Olympics. College football might be over. Football might be over soon. But we got a lot to look forward to when it comes to sports, so be ready for it because it's going to be awesome. But yeah, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching.